Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. That was the sound of the mukkuri from Sekinemaki. We'll hear a little bit about that later on. Thank you very much, everybody. Welcome to Japan House London's latest online event. This is the making of Ainu, Indigenous People of Japan. It's a panel discussion about the making of a documentary in Hokkaido. And this is held in connection with the Native Spirit Film Festival. And we are delighted to have the film's director with us and those who participated in the film and those who are from the place where the film was made. And for those of you who are watching, we have a few house notes for you. Please note that your microphone and webcam will be disabled for the entire duration of the event. Please use the question and answer feature to type in your questions for any of the speakers today. We will have a session at the end of the discussion where people can answer their questions. That will come through the Japan House moderators, and we hope to be able to answer as many questions as possible. Please bear with us, we do usually get a lot, and we will try and our best as we can. Also note that these event is being recorded and is also streaming live on YouTube later. Okay, thank you very much indeed. It's probably best now that I introduce who we have. I think today is extremely special. We have participants from New York. I'm in London. We have two participants from Niputani in Hokkaido, and also from Fujisawa in Kanagawa Prefecture. So we are spanning a lot of time zones. Thank you very much indeed for everybody making time to be able to fit in with your daily routines for this. Thank you very much indeed. Let me introduce who we have today. So the director of the film is Mizoguchi Naomi. She is an independent filmmaker who moved to New York City in 2004 to study community media. In 2008, she co-established a non-profit organization called Cineminga, is that right? And in 2014, established Gara Films. She continues to create films with a broad view, such as shows for mainstream media, as well as in-focus films about community issues. Naomi-san, maybe you can show us who you are by giving us a wave. Thank you very much. Okay, maybe we can leave the map and have Go to full. Thank you. And we also have Sekine Kenji, who is, hello, Kenji-san. Thank you very much for joining us. Kenji-san is the Ainu Japanese translator for the film. He was born in Hyogo Prefecture, but has lived in the Nibutani neighborhood in Hokkaido since 1998. After joining the local Ainu language class with his daughter in around 2005, Kenji continued his studies in earnest, learning from researchers and elders in residence in Nibutani and Biratori. Today, Kenji leads the children's Ainu language classes offered by Biratori, and also travels around Hokkaido teaching Ainu at schools and Ainu language at schools and in other institutions. Thank you very much, Kenji. And with Kenji, we have Sekinemaki. So Sekinemaki is an artisan. Hello, Maki-san. And a mukuri player, the mukuri player for the film, in fact. And of course, you very much introduced this session with your mukuri playing earlier on. Thank you very much indeed. Maki grew up in Nibutani. Thank you. That's the mukuri. Maybe we can ask you to play a little bit later on. Thank you. And she was surrounded by the culture and crafts practiced by her grandparents' generation in Nibutani. She is fascinated by nature, and she is an accomplished artisan producing wood carvings, atouche fiber textiles, and embroidery using Ainu designs. Thank you very much, Maki. And last but not least, we have Sekine Maya, who is the daughter of Maki and Kenji. Hello, Maya, welcome. Maya has twice won the Ainu speech contest, which is held nationally. And in 2018, she was one of STV's Ainu language teachers on their weekly radio show. In 2019, Maya started a YouTube channel to promote Ainu language. In addition to studying at Keio University in Tokyo, she speaks as a panelist at local and international conferences for Ainu study. Thank you very much, Maya, for joining us. So Maya's joining us from Kanagawa, and Naomi is joining us from New York, and Kenji and Maki are joining us from Nibutani in Hokkaido. Welcome, thank you so much. We're going to talk about the making of the film and a little bit about the life of Nibutani as well for people today. Just to let everybody know who is joining us, thank you very much indeed. We are extremely privileged to be able to allow all those who have joined this Zoom after the session has finished. You will be given a link where you can access the film online. Thank you very much to Naomi, for the director, and also to the Native Spirit Festival for allowing this to happen. Thank you very much indeed. So please wait, and you will receive your link to see the film online at the end of this session. Thank you very much. Okay, maybe we shall start. Enough speaking from me. Naomi, can I start with you, please, as the film's director? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about this film and how you came to make it.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. So I went to Biratori town 2008. That was my first time because I wanted to learn about Ainu. I didn't know anything about it. So that was my intention. I didn't go to make a film. I just wanted to learn. And then I constantly, probably once a year, sometimes once in 2 years, revisit it. And then decided to make this film in 2004 from the conversation of the curator at the Nibutani Ainu Museum.
Okay, thank you. And when you say you wanted to learn about Ainu, I think maybe we should try and understand what Ainu is actually, maybe. Maybe this is a question for, who would like to answer this question? What is Ainu? Maybe Kenji. Maki? I know Kenji-san, you from your biography, we just talked about teaching Ainu language, but for you, what is Ainu?
はい、こんにちは、関根健二です。イランからで、まずですね、僕自身がその兵庫県出身ということで、アイヌではないと言えるんですよね。アイヌっていうのは、北海道を中心に、住んでいる、先住民族と言えます。日本の先住民族ですね。北海道、そして、樺太と、島列島、あと、本州の北部ですね、東北地方にも、住んでいると。で、今はもちろん関東とかにもね、たくさんいますけど、それがアイヌですね。で、全くですね、違う言語で、日本語とは全然違う言語で、文化も全然違うものを、有していると思っているというのがアイヌと言えます。アイヌ民族と言われますね。
Hello, my name is Sekinemaki, Iran Karate, hello, in Ainu, and thanks for having me. So just to explain, yes, Ainu is the indigenous people mainly residing in Hokkaido area, but it's not limited in Hokkaido actually. There are many in the Sakhalin region in Russia, and also some in the northern end of the Honshu island, so Tohoku region, and nowadays many are seen in the Kanto region as well. So they are the indigenous people of one of the indigenous people of Japan, but also like the language and the culture are different to the what is seen as mainstream Japanese culture. So that is Ainu in essence.
Thank you very much, Kenji. Thank you for answering that. Back to you, Naomi. So we're back to the story of your making the film. You went to Biratori, to Nibutani, yes, and you didn't intend to make the film. So what prompted you to make this film?
That time, in 2008, I was working with indigenous people in Colombia. And then my colleague asked me, you're from Japan, so there is a people called Ainu who is indigenous, they know that. And then they asked me about it, and I couldn't answer anything. So that's why I went there. And again, in 2000, then this is a story. There's one person who is happened to be this person, Kazunobu-san. I met him when I observed Ainu language class in Nibutani. And then, that was my first time. I just observed. And then in the end of the class, I said, thank you so much. And then I was leaving. And then this Kazunobu-san came up to me, say, oh, you're not familiar. Where are you from? Where are you from? And I said, I'm from Hyogo. And then he asked me, do you want to learn more about Ainu? I said, yes. And then he says, then come back. And then I decided to be honest, actually Kazunobu-san, I didn't even know his name, but I said, I live in New York and I'm not a rich person. So it's hard for me financially to come over to Hokkaido and rent a car and then stay at a hotel. But I will come back, I promise you. And then he said, well, if you have an issue with money, you can stay in my home. It was only 5 minutes. I'm shocked. But the month later, there was a cultural festival, annual one in Biratori. So I called him up because I wanted to go. And then, do you remember me? He said, yes. And you told me I can stay in your house. Is that true? Oh, yes, true. Yeah. Just come and then take this bus and then you don't have to rent a car and then use my car. So that was my encounter. It was lucky to have him. That's why I was able to go back again and again. Then time passed, and 2004, I was at the museum, and then we had a chat with the curator, and then he says, there are 4 seniors he wanted to capture, like he wanted to have their voice in record before something happened. They're almost 80s. And I asked him, who are they? And happened to be these 4 elders. And that time, I knew everyone. They are all from the Ainu language class, and I stayed. I had a drink, have dinner, lunch, something like that. So I thought, oh, I know everyone, so I should make a film. So that's the moment I decided to make a film, but collaborating with them.
Okay, thank you very much. So I was going to ask exactly when you mentioned collaborating with these people, with the community, and I can see that it's thanks to one of the members of Kyanosan, yes, I believe, isn't it, who befriended you very, very early on. How did you feel about making a film about people like this, or with people like this? I guess it's quite you have to be quite sensitive. You have to gain trust for the right representation to be made.
There are 2 things. One is about the subjects, like these 4 elders, seniors. Because I knew them for almost 6 years, over the course of 6 years, without the camera, I was able to talk very frankly or friendly, and then they knew me. So when I told them, actually we, with the Nibutani Ainu Culture Museum, we want to make a film about it, and then it's gonna be, worldwide. You want to be on screen, things like that. And are you okay? And they all say, sure. I had no issue. And I intended to make my film by myself. I mean, the shooting stuff, even collaborating with them, with the museum. I didn't hire any crew members. There are 2 reasons. One, I had no money to hire. And the second reason was because if someone, when I'm interviewing, if someone they don't know in the same room, they got nervous. They talk different way, right? So I didn't want that. I wanted to be as natural as possible. So that's why I chose to make this film by myself. And the second thing is collaboration, as you mentioned. I think because I'm an outsider, I don't live there, and I'm not Ainu, so I don't know so much about it. Even like study and learn a little bit, but it's not perfect. So I can't be. I shouldn't be a person who decide everything. So I wanted to have museum or local people to be in the process. So from the beginning, I told them everything I'm planning, and I asked them what they want to capture. Like there are many other scenes I didn't use in the film, but it's in the museum. Actually, I from the beginning, I told museum I can offer all of the raw footage and the completed film, so you can use even my dye, whatever. So that was, I think, 2 points I was able to make this film.
Thank you very much. I think I must say as well, I have a slight personal connection with this as well, in that I've never met you, Naomi, before in the flesh. I've never met Maya before, but I have had the chance to go to Nibutani. I have met Maki and Kenji. And I think you're probably talking about, are you talking about Morioka sensei in the museum as well, yes?
Morioka sensei came after, I started a film. I mean, I knew him, but that was the other curator.
Okay. The reason I mention him is because I met him as well in Niputani, and he mentioned your film as well.
Oh, yeah. He helped me a lot. Yes, a lot.
And I have seen the film, and I think it is very good indeed. It mentions, as you said, four elders from the Biratori area, and you've mentioned Kawanano-san as well already. I noticed that when Kawanano-san is interviewed for the first time, he starts to mention the word wajin as well, and that comes up several times. I would like to understand what the term wajin means.
So I think that's the best answer to that question is Kenji.
Okay. Kenji again.
はい、和人っていうのはですね、そうですね、本州とか、日本、一般的に全国で知られている言葉じゃないような気がしますね。で、北海道で、本州からやってきた人、もともとは実際、北海道とかその辺りはですね、アイヌ民族が住んでたんですね。で、そこに後からやってきた、いわゆる日本人のことを、北海道では和人っていうような言い方をします。だからまあ僕もね、兵庫県から来てるので和人の一人と言えますけど、まあアイヌに対しての和人ですね。そういう言い方があります。
Yes, the term wajin refers to those who are not originally who are not, and actually wajin is not a nationally known Japanese word, so anybody who doesn't live in Hokkaido might not be familiar with this word, but wajin refers to people who are from the rest of Japan, apart from Hokkaido. So because Hokkaido was originally Ainu people's land, therefore anybody who are originally from the other parts of Japan are referred to as wajin by Ainu people. So when you, it's really two are pair, actually. Ainu and wajin are used in pairs. And I am originally from Hyogo Prefecture, so I am one of the wajins.
Okay, thank you very much, Kenji. So you live in Niputani, but you are a wajin. Okay. So in fact, I'd never come across this term until I started learning about Ainu and speaking to people about it as well. So it's true. Thank you very much indeed for clarifying that. I will go back maybe now to the film and a second member of the Biratori community who is mentioned is Kyanosan, Kayano Shigeru, a very important Ainu character nationally. He was the first Ainu Diet member in Tokyo, I believe. And Maki, maybe I can ask you a little bit about Kyano-san. Maki, you are from Niputani. You are from where Kyano-san comes from. Did you know him?
はい。私が小さい時から、茅野さんは、うちの近所だったんですけれども、いろんなアイヌの民具を集めたり、あと、アイヌとして初の国会議員になったりとか、で、なんです。子供たちを集めて、で、アイヌの遊びだったりとか教えてくれたり、映画を作ったりとか、いろんなことをしていました。で、すごく可愛がっていただいたっていう記憶があります。素晴らしい人だったと思います。
Yes, I've known him since I was very small, actually. We were neighbors, in fact. So I do remember him from a very young age. And from a long time ago, he was very active in preservation of Ainu Ainu people and its traditions as well. So he has gathered people, but also, and he became the MP, as you mentioned, one of the Diet members. And he was very active in teaching the old games to children and how to play, and also making films as well. So I thought he was amazing. Yes, he was an amazing person.
Yes? Yes, Maki, please.
Maki-san, どうぞ。
はい。茅野さんが亡くなる前、アイヌ語親子っていうので、マヤとケンジさんと私が茅野さんにアイヌ語を教えてもらったことがあるんですけれども、その時にマヤにアイヌ語の名前をつけてくれたりとか、そういうのでいろんな関わりを最後までマヤを可愛がってくれました。はい。
And also to reveal more of a personal connection, when Maya was born, I went to the language class of, it was called Ainugo Parents and a Child. It was taught by him. So both me, Kenji, and Maya went to that class. And then he gave, he actually named Maya based on the Ainu names. So he chosen the name for my daughter. And it was really, yeah, a very touching moment that I still remember.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Maya, I was wondering where your name came from, actually. So now I know.
Maya is not Ainu's name.
What's your Ainu name?
Noto. It means nagi. 日本語でナギってなんて言うんですかね。海とかのナギっていう意味でノトってつけてもらいました。
波じゃなくて、little.
My Ainu name is Noto. It means nagi, which is really calm at sea. So when everything is calm, that is referred to as nagi in Japanese, but which is Noto in Ainu.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you very much. So we're touching here on Ainu language, actually, and one of the characters featured in the film as well is Kibata-san, a woman who talks about. Thank you very much, Naomi. Exactly, this is Kibata-san, who talks about her learning quite late on Ainu language. You teach language as well, Maya. Did you know Kibata-san? You were brought up in Nibutani, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you do with Ainu language.
まず木幡さん、木幡のババって呼んでるんですけど、ババはすごい私が北海道に帰るたびにわざわざ会いに来てくれたりとか、20歳の成人祝いになったらこうやってわざわざ顔見に来てくれたりとか、いまだにすごい可愛がってくれてて、で私にはそういうおじいちゃんおばあちゃんとか地域の人がたくさんいて、期待してくれたり求めてくれる地域の人がたくさんいて、それが今の私の多分活動につながってると思うんですけど、今はその YouTube だったりとかで日常的に使いやすいアイヌ語っていうのをちょっと父にも手伝ってもらいながら発信したりとか、自分で楽しみながらアイヌ語を残していきたいなって思うのは、やっぱりニブタニで育てたおかげかな、いろんな人に会えたおかげかなって思ってます。
Yes, I know Kyanosan very well. I call her Baba, which means granny, really. So whenever I go back to Nibutani, she would always come and see me, and also on my 20th coming of age ceremony, she would come to celebrate the occasion as well to me. So and she's really like a family to me. And there are so many like her around Nibutani, and I grew up in that kind of environment, and I really see that as a privilege. And right now I try and I try in my own way for the Ainu preservation of the culture and the language using YouTubes and other platforms, social platforms as well, introducing daily phrases that are useful in Ainu language. And my father, Kenji, helped me as well. So, but I really feel like the reason why I'm involved in this way and interested is because I was raised in Nibutani, and I'm very, very grateful for it.
Thank you very much. I've been lucky enough to attend one of your father's Ainu language lessons. I would like to ask maybe Kenji about what is the importance of Ainu language. You have obviously had to learn it. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the status of Ainu language.
アイヌ語はですね、実際に、喋れる人がほとんどいない、とても危機的な状況の言語だって言えるんですよね、今の状況が。だから、僕はですね、でも、そういう危機言語の中では、データはたくさん残っているし、録音された音声データとかもたくさんあったりして、で、そうですね、僕自身もね、ただちょっと言葉を学ぶのが好きで、初めはそういう程度でやってたんですけど、6年前ぐらいにニュージーランドに行って、周りの人たちがこう言語をね、しっかり復活させてる様子を見て、マオリ語ももともとは消滅するだろうと言われていたところから復興しているのを見て、アイヌ語もそういうふうに、なる可能性があるんじゃないか。じゃあそれをですね、ライフワークとして、自分の、人生をかけて、やるだけのものなんじゃないかと思って、それに今取り込んでいますね。だから僕は喋れる人を増やそうっていう、活動をやってますけど、実際のところは今はですね、流暢に喋れる人っていうのはほとんどいないですね。で、僕たちは、そういうですね、場をわざわざ作って、アイヌ語だけで喋る時間を作ったりとか、そういうことをしながらですね、喋れる人を増やしてます。だから、若い人に多いですけど、若い人で、新たに、アイヌ語を学んで、また喋り出すっていう人がね、ちょっとずつ増えている状況だと言えますね。そういう状況です。
Thank you.
Yes. So Ainu is the language that is not used so widely, I would say. It's actually it's in the language classified as in the danger of extinction. However, out of all those languages, there are enough data available and also audio recordings as well. So I've been after I've started learning the language, which I really started because I'm interested in language learning in general. However, after 6 years of doing so, I went to New Zealand and met some Maori people who successfully rejuvenated the language, even though once their language was classified as the danger of extinction. But they managed to bring it back, and really it was used in a daily setting as well. So I really thought maybe there is a potential for Ainu language to have that kind of comeback. So I thought maybe I should make this my life work to make sure and do everything I can to bring the Ainu language back into everyone's lives. So I have started to really, like, my main work at the moment is to increase the number of speakers fluently. And there are most young people who are interested in learning it as a subject. And really, like, I'm trying to provide the occasions for people to speak more as well.
Thank you very much. We've already got some questions coming in, quite a lot of questions. We have one question, I think, which is pertinent to this particular conversation about the language. I don't know who would like to answer it, but how is Ainu language written? How is it recorded? Who would like to answer that question? Maya?
はい、アイヌ語は今はローマ字だったりとかカタカナで表記されることが主流なんですけど、もともとはこう口伝で口でこう言葉で伝えられていた言語です、アイヌ語っていうのは。
yes, Ainu language nowadays are described with Romaji or katakana scripts. However, traditionally, Ainu language was really just speech only. It was mostly just passed on through words.
As an oral tradition. I see. Okay, thank you. Naomi-san, yes.
Yes, I'd like to add one thing. The video is a perfect tool to preserve or learn these languages that has no written character. So what I did in South America or the other countries with indigenous people are the same. And some people are not, don't like to read or write, but the, pronunciation and everything, video was the perfect tool as an educational equipment. So that was my intention, to do something with indigenous people using video.
Okay, thank you very much. Kenji, I remember from the lesson that you were giving the children that you used language flashcards using Latin script. I remember, and that surprised me. I thought I would see the Ainu language written in katakana only, but it was written in Latin script, and that surprised me a lot. So thank you very much for that question. We've had several people asking that. Thank you very much indeed. More questions about language, actually. Seeing as we're on language, we might as well stay there, I suppose. Are there any similarities between Ainu and Japanese? The two languages, are they similar? Are they very different? I don't know who would like to answer that question. Maya?
Maybe my father is good to answer the question.
Okay, Kenji, it's back to you. We need to be able to.
ケンジさん、ミュートになっていますので、ミュートを外してください。はい。
大きく言ったら大雑把に言えば日本語ととても並びとかも似てると言えます。
Maybe you speak up a little bit more. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. 言葉の並びとかも、日本語にね、かなり似てると。だから、日本語話者には勉強しやすいですね。で、母音の数とかも一緒ですし、だから音も似てると。ただですね、ちょっとやっぱり違う音とかもあって、日本人には発音しにくい音とかもあります。でも、根本的にですね、これは全然違う言語なんですね。全く違う言語で、アイヌ語っていうのはとてもね、ユニークだと、周りに、兄弟のような似た言語はね、ないって言われてますね。でとてもね、ユニークですね。あんまり似た言葉は言語はね、ないって言われてるような言葉です。
Overall, I would say there are similarities between Japanese because the order is almost very, very similar to Japanese, and also the number of vowels are the same as well. And so most of the sound, it sounds quite similar to Japanese. However, it includes a few different sounds, perhaps, which are quite difficult for Japanese learners to pronounce. But mostly, largely speaking, I would say it's easier language to learn for Japanese speakers. But fundamentally, it is very different, I would say. It doesn't belong in the same language groups because Ainu is seen as a very standalone language. It is a unique language, so there are no linked siblings. So yes, that's what I would say about in terms of similarities.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed, Kenji. So we've talked a little bit here about Ainu language, but of course, there is more to Ainu than just language, I think. And maybe this is something I would like to address to Maki, that Maki, could you tell us a little bit more about what you do in Nibutani? When I first met you, actually, you were busy with some clothes, and you told me about your husband's language class that evening. And so it was the chance meeting you that I was able to meet your husband, and we were able to look at Ainu language and the teaching to the children there. But what do you do in Nibutani generally? You mentioned in your bio that you have you work with textiles, you work with wood as well.
はい。私はニブタニで生まれて、ニブタニでずっと暮らしていて、で、おばあちゃんだったり、おばあちゃんは織物をやったり、刺繍をしたりっていうことをしていて、で、まあ、おじいちゃんも彫刻をしたりとか、で、お父さんも彫刻をしてっていう、みんな代々と工芸をやっている家庭で生まれて育ちました。なので、小さい時からそういう工芸を見ながら育ったので、今私はニブタニで、私の母が織物をやっていて、で、私の兄は彫刻をしてっていう、そういう家族と一緒に暮らしていて、私自身も、彫刻だったり、刺繍だったり、で、母から織物を習ったりっていうことで、いろんな工芸をやっているのが普段の私の生活です。で、そういう工芸家たちが、ニブタニにはたくさんの工芸家がいるんですよね。で、そういう工芸の組合がありまして、で、その組合に所属している人たちの作品を工芸館、ニブタニ工芸館というところで販売していまして、で、そこで私はその作品を展示販売っていうこともやっております。はい。それが普段、あと、まあ、アイヌ語教室を、やっているケンジさんの横でサポートしています。はい。
Yes, I am born and bred in Nibutani, and my mother was involved in my mother practiced weaving, and my grandmother as well, and they did embroidery as well. And my father and the grandfather were involved in wood carving sculptures. And so I was born and raised in that kind of environment. And right now, my mother still practices weaving, and my brother is in wood carving. So we do still carry on those traditions. And I myself are involved in embroidery, wood carving, and I do, my mother gives me lessons in weaving as well. So that's something that I do on a daily basis. And as well as that, we do have a union of craftsmakers that we have, which has a workshop as well. So in there, I display my work alongside other craftsmakers and artisans, and we do sell some of the items as well. And also, I am involved in teaching of Ainu language as well. So those are my daily life, really.
Thank you. I remember Nibutani is very small, yes, where you live. It's a little village. And I noticed that a lot of how Nibutani Ainu culture is reflected through craft, especially as all of these things that you mentioned. I'd like to ask Maya, maybe. I mean, Maya, you don't live in Nibutani any longer. You live in the Tokyo region. For you, what does it mean to be Ainu?
なんだろう。アイヌでいる。なんだろう、もっとこう単純に私の場合、人でいるみたいな意味で捉えちゃうかもしれないです。なんかもう小さい頃から本当にいろんな地域だったり、いろんな国籍の方だったり、いろんな場所からいろんな人と会ってきて、でもニブタニでみんなが教えてくれたのは、アイヌっていうのは人っていう意味だよって教えてくれてて、なので、最近になって気づいたんですけど、あんまり私の中で何々人とか何々民族とかなく、アイヌは人。だから、どこの人であっても比較的アイヌであるんじゃないかっていうのを私は思っちゃってる気がします。なんだ、関東に住んでいても全然孤独にも感じないし、みんな仲間、みんな友達みたいな感じで生活してる気がします。
Yes, being Ainu, I actually just simply interpret that as being human, really, because that's I've been fortunate in encountering so many people of different from different regions, different ethnicities, different nationalities. But growing up in Nibutani, I've always been taught that Ainu means people or human. So I just really thought that, okay, so Ainu is people. And so I've really realized recently that I don't really categorize people according to their ethnicities or where they're from, really. They're just people to me. So I am in Kanto region at the moment, but I don't really feel lonely at all because everyone around me are part of my family, part of the community. So everyone's part of us, really. We're just one of us.
Thank you very much. It's a very positive and optimistic answer. I like it very much indeed. Of course, the word Ainu simply means human. Yes, in Ainu language. Thank you very much indeed. We have lots of questions from people watching. If you're okay, maybe we can start to have some of those questions from the people who are watching. Thank you so much for all your questions. This is a question to Naomi, in fact. This is from Cynthia Calzolauri. Thanks for this. I can't wait to go to Hokkaido. I was awarded by the Japan Foundation a fellowship to go there for my research in Ainu arts. So this is the question to Naomi. Would you call the film a documentary?
Yes.
That was a very simple answer. Thank you very much indeed. We need another question now. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is from one of our viewers. What is the current social status of Ainu people? When I was small, more than 30 years ago, I lived in Abashiri in Hokkaido. But at that time, there was no communication or integration between Wajin and Ainu people. We rarely saw them. Ainu people are only standing at tourist spots for photographs. I wonder what the current situation is. Hopefully people are more engaging with each other. Who would like to answer this question?
はい、じゃあね、僕がお答えしますね。まあ、30年前とか、と比べたら、すごいいい状況にはなってると思います。差別とかもね、少なくなってるんだと思います。で、まず、初めからしてですね、圧倒的にアイヌは少ないんですよね。少数でもあると。先住民族であって少数でもある。まあ、北海道でだいたい 0.3% ぐらいかなって言われてるんですね、人口の中の。で、我々が住んでいる二部谷っていうのは300人ぐらいの町で、その 75% ぐらいはアイヌって言われてますけど、それは、最大のコミュニティなんですよね。アイヌの割合が最大のコミュニティであって、それ以外のところでしたらね、圧倒的に少ないと。だから、二部谷で育っている人は基本的に小さい頃はね、差別とか感じることがないですし、でも、逆にですね、大きな町とかに行ったらアイヌは少数であるから、今でも、差別があったりとか、何かの形でいじめがあったりとか、そういうのはね、あるようです。ただ、最近ですね、国立の博物館、アイヌに、関する博物館ができたりとか、そういうので注目はとてもされてるんですよね。で、たくさんの人がですね、例えば昔からある先住民族の権利としての、鮭を、川で取る権利を訴えていたり、あと、やっぱり遺骨問題って言ってですね、大学とかに、まあ、研究調査の目的で持っていかれた、墓から、持っていかれた骨とかそういうのがたくさんあったりして、その返還を求めている人たちもたくさんいるし、 やっとですね、アイヌの権利についてとかも、みんながこう考え出しているそういう状況だと言いますね。その中で、アイヌ語だってやっぱり言語圏ですよね。喋れる状況がずっとなくて、それは喋れるようになればなる方がいいんでないかというような形で、どんどん活発になっているのは、感じますというような状況ですね。
Yes, I will answer the question. As you have pointed out, maybe around 30 years ago still, there would have been more prejudice, I believe. Just up front, I would like to explain that there are just large number of differences between Japanese and Ainu people in terms of numbers, because Ainu are the minority group, really. It's the indigenous group, and like an overall, even within Hokkaido, Ainu people only accounts for 0.3% of the entire population of Hokkaido. And whereas in Nibutani, it's a small town, it only has 300 people as a population, but 75% are of Ainu origin. So I would say that those children who grew up in Nibutani wouldn't experience prejudice, so much prejudice necessarily. However, those from the larger cities, even within Hokkaido, maybe would have experienced some kind of prejudice or bullying growing up. However, the current reality is that National Museum has opened up focusing on Ainu, and so there are more focus and attention paid to its people and culture. But there are things such as regarding indigenous people's rights, and Ainu people are claiming the rights to take a fish salmon out, wild salmon in the river, and also problem with the graveyards as well. Some researchers have dug up graves to take up what is left in there in the name of research. So Ainu people are requesting those to be returned. So there are those disputes that are still ongoing. However, going back to the language, I think it is really it's extremely important to expand the regions of the language being spoken as well. So that's really what I'm trying to do, and like those are the current reality, really.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I mean, we've had some comments here about some people are asking about the status of Japanese and Ainu language. I mean, just to say, maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ainu language is nobody is born speaking now Ainu language. Is that correct?
誰にとっても、日本語の方が、楽に話せるっていうかね、そういう状況だと思いますね。大雑把に言ってですね、この地方でも、明治生まれとか、そういう人は、流暢に喋れる人います。でも、明治っていうのは100年以上前ですから、実際は、そうですね、みんなが、大きくなってから習う、あるいは子供の頃からもちろんアイヌ語教室行ったりしてますけど、基本は日本語で、育ったっていう人が、今の若い人の状況だったと思いますね。
I would say most people have Japanese as their dominant language. If you meet those who were born in the Meiji era, there are people who speak very fluent Ainu, but Meiji era is more than 100 years ago. So most of the younger generations, they tend to learn Ainu as an adult, and some have received lessons as a child as well, but most of them has Japanese as the dominant language and Ainu second.
I understand. Thank you. This is a very short question from me that is trying to encompass some of the questions we've had. It's for Maya. Maya, do you speak Ainu to other people?
私も大学の友達とかとその YouTube やったりとかしてるんですけど、そういう友達とかがふとこうごめんねのところをくべんなって言ってくれたりとか、性教育っていうのをアイヌ語で言ってくれたりとか、こう意識的にアイヌ語を使ってくれて、それに私が答えたりとか、意識的にアイヌ語で話しかけるとかはすることあるんですけど、でも なんだろう、日常会話を誰かとアイヌ語でっていうのは関東とかではあまりないです。
So I make YouTube videos with my university friends as well. So when amongst those friends, they might say kubenna in the place of sorry. So in Ainu, and they might ask me, do you want to go to co-op in Ainu as well? But when I or they do that, it's quite intentional, and they tend to be in phrases as well. So I don't really tend to have full-on daily conversations in Ainu in the Kanto region so much.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. That was my rather selfish question to understand a little bit more, but thank you very much. I hope it's answered some other people's. This is a question for Naomi again. Naomi would like to, this is from one of our viewers. I would like to ask, what were the hardships you experienced or faced during the filming process? How did you overcome these hardships?
Most hard part was the financial situation. I have to fly from New York to Hokkaido like 3 times a year. I have to pay rent here in New York, so I sublet to other people while I'm not here. Plus, I'm one-person crew, so I have to carry tripod and everything. So, and then I have to think about things. So I made lots of mistake. Technically, there was no audio here. I get disappointed. Things like that. That was the 2 things that were the hardest.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just to say to everybody, we will send a link through in the chat to everybody on this, to Maya's YouTube channel, so people can access and see Maya in action. Maybe this is a question, we haven't got much time left, but this is for Maki, I think, Maki. Rebecca has said, love this talk so far. Thank you very much indeed. She would like to ask, what makes Ainu weaving special? Is it the designs? Is it the techniques? And where can we see examples? I've seen some embroidery in Sapporo, but never weaving.
私のお母さん、私の母が二部谷で織物をやってるんですけれども、織物っていうのは木の皮なんですよね。で、おひょうっていう木を春に皮を剥いで、木の皮を剥いで、その内皮を使って、で、それを処理して、1枚ずつ剥がして、糸を裂いて、で、地旗って織るんですよね。で、それが木の皮の着物としてアイヌ民族は昔から着ていました。木綿が手に入る前はその樹皮、木の皮の着物を着て暮らしていて、でそれを今も伝統受け継いでやっていて、二部谷アットシっていうもので私たちの地域では私の母のゆき子とあと藤谷さんっていう方だったり何人か織ってる人がいます。で二部谷に来ないと多分織物っていうのは拝見できないのが現状かと思います。あとはそうですね、ゆき子と二部隊の人たちはもう50年とか織ったりとかしている人たちなんですけれども、最近練習している人たちだったり、そういう人たちはウポポイの方とかでもそういうのを見れたりとかもするかと思います。はい。
Yes, as I mentioned, my mother weaves, and weaving in Ainu weaving is made with the skin of the tree, actually. So we take those skin of the tree off in the springtime from the tree called ohori, which is native to Hokkaido, and so they have been dried and they have been processed. They get processed, and so they get ready to be weaved, and it's been made into a sheet, which gets made into clothing. And before cotton was widely available, Ainu people would use that as their daily clothing, so they were worn, and they are still available in Nibutani region. There's a group called the Nibutani Apshi, which my mother is involved. So her name is Yukiko, and there is another lady called Fujiya, and a few others as well, a few of the main other members who keep this tradition going. But if you're interested, I'm afraid you might need to come to Nibutani to see these examples. However, there are some younger people who are, this Nibutani one has been going on for more than 50 years, but newer generations have started to take up weaving again, and those examples might be available in places like Upopoi as well.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Upopoi being the new museum, which has been only created this year in Shiraoi in Hokkaido, not so far from Biratori, not so far from where you are in Nibutani. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid, today. It's gone so quickly. Thank you so much to everybody here. But first of all, I do have to say thank you very much to the Native Spirit Festival, and especially to Tweed, who has made this possible. The Native Spirit Festival link will be sent to everybody who's attending this as well. So you will have a link in the chat as well. Thank you very much indeed for that. But thank you, of course, to Naomi, of course, who's made this possible by creating this film. I think it is an extraordinarily good introduction. And more than that, in what it says, the warmth of your relationship, I think, comes out in the film. Obviously, you can tell that it's been made together, and it's a wonderful thing to see. Everybody who's taken part by watching this has the opportunity. Thank you very much, Naomi. Thank you very much, Native Spirit Festival, for view this film. So the link will be sent to you. Thank you very much indeed. Please do see the film. I think the film only has a short amount of time for you to see it, only a few hours, well, a day or two. So that will be it's 24 hours, I think. So please do watch the film within that time. Thank you very much, Maki and Kenji. Thank you very much indeed. It's been wonderful to have you join us from Nibutani. And thank you very much, Maya, for joining us from the Tokyo region, from Fujisawa. Thank you so much. I hope everybody will look at your YouTube channel. I think for everybody's sake, I hope everybody will start to learn a little bit of Ainu language as well. That would be fun, I think. I'm certainly interested. Before we disappear, I would like to say from Japan House's point of view, that we have got our exhibition at Japan House at the moment, which is called Architecture for Dogs. That has opened and it runs until the 10th of January. If you'd like to see that, you have to book, so please do book online. We also have an interactive display because it's about dogs. We have some of the pieces where dogs can actually interact with this, with some of the pieces in the hall in Japan House. At the moment, things are changing, as you may know. In London, things are changing quite rapidly at the moment. We do have planned for the Saturday, the 24th of October, a chance to meet a few Japanese dog breeds. We'll see how that goes. Please watch the website for details in case we have to change any of those plans. And we also have the Architecture for Dogs Roadshow, which will go to various venues in London. Please see our website for dates. The first one is the 25th of October at the Horniman Museum and Gardens in South London. It'll be outside. Please see our website, and there's the website for details. Thank you very much indeed. That's, one more talk, Thursday the 29th of October. This will be online, so this will be happening definitely. It's Dig Dogs, the Archaeology of Dogs in Japan by Professor Simon Kainer of the Sainsbury Institute and the University of East Anglia. I am sure this will be an extraordinarily entertaining event. Please do tune in for that. Thank you very much to everybody for attending the event. The feedback form will be sent back to you, who those of you who have viewed. In that feedback form will be the link to watch Ainu, Indigenous People of Japan. You will receive that afterwards. Many thanks to everybody who has taken part. Many, many thanks. I look forward to seeing you again soon. I hope it's not too long that we're able to meet again. Thank you very much, Maki and Kenji, Naomi and Maya.
Thank you.
Look after yourselves. Stay safe. I hope everybody, manages to keep themselves away from harm. Take care. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.